About attending the recording sessions, I'm wondering because you can learn so much by doing this, particularly if you're just a beginner. But then again, are you welcome there? And I don't know, do you get paid, right? Because of course you can just sit there for 2 weeks while they're recording this, but you won't be earning money. So what does it look like?
No, you don't get paid for this. Oh, at least I'm not aware. Nobody nobody ever paid me for it, let's put it that way. I don't know, in other countries might be different, but no, you don't get paid for it. And I actually think you can learn a lot whether you're a beginner or a very advanced. Obviously, for a beginner, it's very important because, I was just talking about this, with somebody else. Sometimes you're convinced that whatever you think of first and you think it's like the perfect sentence or whatever, it won't be possible. It's too long, too short, the bilabial's in the wrong place, all kinds of other stuff. And then you write an alternative, and then you go into the studio and they're like, this is not so great. Maybe you should do okay, change it back. And it's like, this is what I wanted to write, and they record it, and it works just fine, even though I try out everything out loud all the time. So it's such an individual thing, it's totally not a science, you can't explain it with zeros and ones. Um, Sometimes it's just a matter of the vibe. It's like, does your brain work similar to, the actor's brain or the director's brain? So it's not a science. Going to the studio is also important for tactical reasons because if something goes wrong, guess who gets blamed? The person who's not there. And as a solo scriptwriter, I only write dubbing scripts. I don't do directing. I'm usually not there, and if something goes wrong, that's who gets blamed. So it's kind of a good idea to go to the studio, maybe not on the very first day when they're still trying to figure things out, but on the second day. So at least they have a face to associate with that name. It makes it a lot more difficult. Um, but I think no, you don't get paid, but it's very important to see what happens because you write a dubbing script. um, it's that's why I always say I'm a dubbing scriptwriter, because it's like a theater, like a play, or like a script. It's you write for somebody to perform it. It's written to be performed by a human being. Um, and it's difficult enough to be a dubbing scriptwriter because you kind of throw your script into sort of a black hole. You hand it in and you don't know what happens, right? It's handed in and that it's gone. You never see it. If you do subtitles, at least at some point, when you see the film, you'll see your words. I don't see my words ever. The text is gone. All I get is the performance, but that already means it's part of a much bigger whole. So, um, it's nice to get the feedback from the audience, but it's also when you see the film, for example, in a movie theater, but it's also that your first audience is the people in the studio, and if you see it works there, then it'll probably work in a theater or on the sofa. Going to the studio is very important. Welcome or not, you have to ask. I mean, I've asked, and they said, "Well, tomorrow maybe not so good. There's an actor there who's a bit iffy, difficult. It's difficult dynamic, maybe not." Um, but if you're not welcome in the studio, other than for reasons like that, then there's something seriously wrong with the entire process. You are part of the team, and it should make you wonder at least whether this is the right studio or whether this is a good production. That's it would be very odd. Obviously, sit back there and shut up. You're not part of that process. You just sit there and if you have any questions or whatever, wait for the break, right? And if you're new, Um, get ready to get some criticism. Um, it's good to have a phrase like, "Can we discuss this maybe afterwards?" So that not everybody needs to hear this, but definitely, you want feedback, you're gonna get it for sure. And it's good. It's especially for someone like me, for example, who doesn't come out of the studio, despite my childhood thing as, doing some dubbing. And I'm not an actor, I'm not in the studio, so, what works, what doesn't work is in my head. It's good to have that feedback from reality, basically.